and welcome to episode 3 of Talking Space Pixels. I'm Anthony, also known in EVE as Ormus Rothgar.
And I'm Clyde, in-game as Clyde Gibson.
So, we're going to be having another boring mining one. We're trying to work out some video issues on Clyde's side here.
Yeah, I got a crappy computer, so...
So, we'll just do another mining one because the trying to do the mission one didn't work out very well. Anyway, so how about we go ahead and get started with what you've been doing, Clyde?
Work, and more work. As far as playing games, I mean, when we played some Battlefield last week, played a little bit of EVE. I mean, that's pretty much it. I really haven't had a lot of time for games, so watched a lot of videos. Been watching a lot of Ark Survival Evolved videos, which I guess we could put a link in the description on YouTube to that. But that's about it.
Well, Clyde, you forgot to mention that we have a big announcement for what we've been doing in EVE.
Oh yeah, whoops.
So, in our first podcast, actually, we said, brave newbies for life, but...
You did.
Yeah, well, I did. Then my second podcast, I kind of explained that a little better. And now we've left Brave in our Goonies.
We joined Karma.
Yeah, we joined the Karma fleet.
No bad blood to Brave, it's just that we felt like it was time to move somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I mean, not necessarily bad blood for Brave, but, I mean, it's I love
the
Brave.
Leaderships.
Yeah.
The leadership did not align with what we wanted.
I love Brave and everything like that, but it's just there was too much drama going on. But there's a lot of stuff that's actually, I think, happened better on the Brave side now. But we'll talk about that later. As far as what I've been doing is, well, I've run a few fleets with the Goons to get myself all officially Goonized. Because there's they're a little bit more strict than Brave. It doesn't, it's Brave as anybody that breathes can join. They're a little bit more strict.
Yeah, but I like that about them. It means it gets people. They're constantly refreshing if you're not playing.
Yeah, because we have to do the path links and everything like that. You have the new rules is you have to go. Everybody has to go into a fleet at least once a month, so they know that there's no just space takers. The AFK people. So, but I ran a few fleets and as a goon, as an official goon and everything. But really, like Clyde, it's been a lot of work and a little bit of home. I've played some Elite Dangerous. I played Battlefield with Clyde. I tried to get in a little bit of Kerbal Space Program because I've been talking about it at work with one of my coworkers quite a bit here lately, and it sounds like a lot of fun trying out the career mode. I used to be really into Kerbal, but kind of got out of it after a while. I was into it before the science part of it really came, so I'm far behind.
Yeah, I haven't even really played it since when we first bought it back then. I mean, we were playing it like every day, and we were Googling in Hangout back and forth while we were playing it. I mean,
yeah, because unfortunately they still have no multiplayer aspect at all. I think they could do it, and just would be complicated.
Well, I mean, there's a mod that pretty much lets... It's kind of like saving the game back and forth to each other.
Yeah. There's also one that lets you see your
not...
friends, like, what they are doing in space, but they're not actually in your space.
Yeah.
But I guess I digress. So that's really what I've been doing, is trying to get in as much gaming as possible so I have something to talk about, but it really doesn't work that well.
Yeah. I think I need to quit my job and full-time this podcast.
Yeah, if only. That would be fantastic. Unfortunately, we need this thing called money. Evil money.
I forgot to mention that while I'm at work, I've been listening to loads of other podcasts.
Yeah, I do too. Whenever I'm working, I try and listen to something.
I about used my phone's data up in about 3 weeks.
Do you know you can like
from listening to podcasts? I know, but
download the ones that you're behind on. Just saying, you won't use your data.
I know.
But that's about what we've been doing, so we'll move on to our Eve's portion of our podcast. We'll get into the dev news stuff that FozzieSov has finally just released.
Yay!
Yep, the whole overhaul to our old nullsec system is, with this more fights and less structure grinding.
But as far as us being line members, we really... it didn't really affect us other than we had to go... the only thing I did was run E-War fleets and Brave to protect those who were bashing positives and stuff.
Well, the entire nullsec, the old system, was just structure grinding, and that's why people could wave their super dicks around and throw Brave out of whatever they wanted to.
Yeah, I understand, and that's the funny thing is as soon as we got structured in Brave, we were just been on the run since then.
Yeah, kind of
escaping system to system and then getting overrun in Fountain.
But this new FozzieSov system, it sounds cool. Really, the way these Entosis links and everything. A fleet or a troll, I guess, but you really need a fleet to make it work. Comes in and Entosis links your station or your hubs or whatever, and if they get a successful link, then it goes into reinforcement mode. After the reinforcement mode, and then all these nodes decloak all over the system for you to fight over, and you have to entos them in order to get, at first it's just you versus whoever you're entosing. That's it. I guess the other people could try and come in and entos it, but I don't know. That part I'm not really sure at, is how...
They both sides, so you can come defend your space by entosing the same structure, but I'm sure that there's going to be people shooting at each other, at least if there's fleets
That's
there.
what I'm saying. The concept is the first reinforcement timer is just you and the enemy. And then it's just, I forgot to throw out my drones. It's just you and the enemy and nobody else. And then...
You just reminded me as well.
Whenever whoever wins, then the station will go into a Freeport mode. And after the Freeport mode, it'll go back into Entosis again. More nodes will decloak, but it's a free-for-all. That's what I don't get, though, is how that, in general, it's not a free-for-all. What stops... Whenever on the first Entosis node, what stops just a random person from warping to...
It doesn't.
So, see, that's
the funny thing is, you can go do all the hard work to get it into Freeport mode, but come around, I think it's 24-hour wait or something like that?
48 hours.
48 hours? Once that happens, you could have 10 alliances show up all wanting that piece. And it's going to turn into a big brawl, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the point. I understand that it's going to be more small fights, less structure grind. Well, actually, no structure grind, except for if you want to kill a POS. But
and it kind of reminds me of, I think it's called Conquest in Battlefield, or Domination in Call of Duty, where you have all these flags that you have to hold on to. And it's going to be kind of like that with multiple teams, it seems.
Yeah, that does make sense. I think it's going to be a really cool... It has a lot of potential, and then it has a lot for people to abuse it too, which obviously anybody can find somewhere to abuse it. But
and speaking of that, I was reading on the Mittani site, they're talking about a Troll Scepter fleet, where you just have a large group of people, each one goes to a separate system, and all starts entosing at the same time. 40 different things.
Yeah, that was one of the concerns that was brought up in the whole beginning, and they tried to nerf it in some way. I can't remember now. But it's a thing, people can just go in and toast it just because, and then never come back. You could still, I mean, blue balling was a tactic that PL used on Brave whenever, I mean, and Goons used it too. I mean, I guess you could still blue ball with this system if you really wanted to be a dick. Like, dude, just toast the station and not show up for the timer.
I mean, that seems like what it could be, is just to keep people having to move constantly around to protect space, thinking something's going to happen. I mean, because that's another thing we should go into about this, is that now you have all these things that you have to do to give you more time, like the industry aspect and fighting in the system, and
yeah, you really have to.
I think market,
you really have to live in your system.
Which I think that's amazing, because all these freaking boundary systems that are dead, and you'll have a couple people in them, maybe mining or something, those will actually have to be used. Now, one thing I did hear is that even if people that are not in your alliance are mining, it boosts your stuff.
So, like, if just some neutral comes in and decides to steal some of your
yeah, so pretty much you don't want to mine in someone else's territory, because you're going to be boosting their. I mean, unless you're a solo guy that doesn't really care.
Yeah, I guess. That's whenever the structures come out is whenever that's really going to go. Because, like, say the Imperium gives up some space because of the fact they don't have stations in them, then now they're going to be able to put in, market hubs and stations and stuff like that to make them more profitable systems. So maybe those systems won't be so useless anymore.
Yeah, and to me, the best thing to get more fights is to allow a lot of small people that are probably in low sec right now to move out to null sec and make a name for themselves. I mean, to me, that would be was my whole vision when we started EVE, is like have our own little sector of space. But I mean, it could be a big flop, and the alliances just stay the way they are. You don't know. I mean,
yeah, we're only just a few days into it.
Yeah,
but it's definitely a change, and a change is what was needed, because everybody hated the old system. So it's just something had to happen. Something finally did happen. I'm glad it happened. So this one is all about the small skirmishes, though. So I'm really wondering where the supers are going to fall into play.
I think those are going to escalate around the capitals. When you get closer to someone's home system, I think maybe they're going to start pulling bigger guns out.
Yeah, maybe. I still think they'll be viable. I mean, because obviously it seems like everybody wants to nerf the capitals and everything, but if it's a capital ship, it's supposed to be big and badass, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all fine. I mean, I just don't know if it's going to escalate to a capital thing, and it takes a long time to get a capital somewhere, so I don't know if it's going to pretty much make them useless when it comes to these quick intosensing links. I don't know. I mean, they're probably going to have to be there for the engagements after Freeport mode, I would think. Because then they know that it's being Freeported, and they have 48 hours to get there.
Yeah, then it's just free-for-all on the undock.
Yeah. And I imagine that's what it's going to be, is just undock camp, and every one of the nodes is being just pretty much a bunch of people at them.
Yeah, that GE actually got put into undock. So, like, if there was they send out
into Freeport.
Yeah, into Freeport. On Facebook, somebody posted that GE was in Freeport if you needed to get something out.
As part of the new SOV or the
new SOV? Yeah.
Old. Okay, because I'm pretty sure they Freeported, or or Pandemic Horde Freeported Head GP, when after we left.
Yeah, I think they put it on Freeport on purpose, but GE I think was left as captured, but now it's in Freeport mode, which means it got in toast.
Not even a couple days in.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought was really funny that happened whenever FozzieSoft deployed was that CCP had to send out a huge, like, hey guys, make sure and checkmark your sovereignty bill payoff, because it
Yeah, we changed this, so we might want to tell everyone about it.
yeah, so a lot of alliances that weren't paying attention could have just dropped off because they didn't pay their bills.
They should have just let that happen. They shouldn't have said anything.
That would have been chaos and so many pissed off people.
It would have been funny as hell, though.
It could have been. It really could have been. And I think the time limit, I can't remember what the time limit is, but whenever the time limit runs out, I'm sure there's going to be people that still forgot to checkmark it. So we still could see some space just get dropped because nobody paid the bills.
I don't know. To me, it's funny either way. These big corporations or alliances should know.
Yeah, I mean, if they're run correctly, I don't think the goons or anybody in the Imperium would have lost it, but I don't know. Maybe if with the way Brave is running, Brave might have lost it if they still had Sov, because they would have been fighting too much about who gets to checkmark it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really can't wait until all these structures come out that are part of the end result of FozzieSoft. You know, littering space with everyone's junk.
The billboards are what's going to get just littered everywhere.
Oh my god!
I can't believe they're making billboards.
I mean, it's going to be funny, but
you're not going to be able to dock Vegeta because it's going to have to load 3 million billboards.
Oh well, that's why I heard is that. Oh, you mean as far as loading it?
Yeah.
I think that the main trade hubs, they're actually not. They said something about not letting people add anything there, but they can do it in the star systems around.
Yeah.
there.
What about the gates? The in gates? I mean, it's going to be. I think.
No, I mean that whole system will be blocked. You know, because they don't want to kill their servers.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The gates that you could jump in, like the gates before.
On the other side to get to Vegeta, that's probably where they're going to be.
Yeah, so those are going to just like one station. I mean, one of the.
I wonder if they're collidable objects or if you just go through them.
I imagine they're collidable, but whenever you're jumping, you go through anything anyway. I mean, you go through everything anyway. Like you go through planets.
I know, but putting them at like. Putting them, I don't know, when you warp in, you're probably about like 1,000 out. Well, you probably wouldn't even be able to put them that close to a gate.
You can only anchor stuff like 2,500 meters away, I think. So it has to be away from the.
So pretty much, I would put a billboard. You know, for every other gate where you'd warp into that gate, I'd put a billboard there to just smash into, if they're collidable.
Yeah. Just imagine though, like a billboard for a gate camp. That'd be hilarious. Like, hey, you're about to die here. And they advertise it.
Code.
Yeah.
You're in code space. And maybe people won't get their freighter stuck, you know?
Yeah, speaking of new things getting, like, new stuff that's getting released, you know, we'll talk about something that's actually gotten released. They've released all kinds of Tech 2 skins for, the ships. Whenever the skins first came out, we only had Tech 1 ships, but a lot of the cruisers now, the Tech 2 cruisers and stuff, have skins and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. The only ones I liked were the Amars and the Galentes. I like the blue.
So pretty much a bunch of skins I can't afford and won't buy.
Well, I mean, I can afford them, but my potato mode doesn't let me appreciate them, so I'm going to wait till I get a better computer.
All I want is a green skin for every one of my ships.
Then you would want Caldari, because the Tech 2s were for the Caldari were all green.
I know. Apparently the new, I think it's for the Dami. There's some, I think it's a faction type of Dami or something that's green. I don't know if you've seen that.
The Navy issue's kind of like a camouflage is green.
No, it was actually like green highlights instead of the Galent blue.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I know about the blue.
I don't know if that was real or if that was just someone that created it and put it on Twitter. I'll have to look that up.
But also, what's been released with, I think this release. No, it wasn't. It was the release before this one. The release before FozzieSoft. We got our tech. The Gallente got their Tech 3 destroyer, the Hectate.
Yeah, I want to eventually get into one of those.
After I finish my Tech 2 training for Caldari Cruiser and Gallente Cruisers, so I can use the Ishtars and stuff like that, it's on my list. I've actually got the Gallente destroyer going up to 5.
Are you talking about on our mains or on our alts?
Yeah, on our mains, of course.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
I gotta head back to dump.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna, because I want to be able to use the Ishtar for, well, Ishtar PvP and also Ishtar ratting. And then also I want to be able to fly the Proteus and the Tengus, the Tech 3 cruisers. So I'm getting those out so I can get more doctrines down, because I want to be able to fly in more fleets. But I think that one of the main things that Porkbutt said he wanted us to do also was to train for the Tech 3 destroyers.
Yeah, I'm still trying to train into a bunch of these Tech 2 doctrines and larger ships, because, you know, when I was in Brave, all I wanted to do was fly cheap frigates so I could learn how to do PvP. And now I'm struggling because there is really not a lot of doctrine ships for us to just jump in that are little small tackle ships.
Well, any fleet can use a tackle ship.
I know, but I didn't save any ship fittings, so I'm gonna have to find some for proper tackle. I've been trying to do it myself in EFT to see what I could do. But
tackle's easy, but anyway, I mean, so there's actually a lot of dev news stuff going on. This is for a while because of FozzieSoft and everything like that, but also FozzieSoft broke Eve.
Oh yeah, I was at work. Actually, I heard that CCP Puncturus spilled pizza sauce on their keyboard and caused it.
It's all their fault. But it was down for... I mean, it was down after I got home, so, I mean,
pretty much the entire Eve day, I think.
No, it came back on, at like 8?
In the morning?
No, at night.
Oh, I think it was late like that, but did they use the GMT time, Great Britain time, or
I did.
That's Eve local, right?
Eve is, I don't know, whatever Iceland time is, but I'm talking, you know, our central time, American Central Time.
Oh, I know. I'm just trying to. They were down since downtime, right?
Yeah.
All the way until 8 o'clock.
Whenever downtime happened, they never came back up until after we got home and we're messing around and everything like that. But it was a long time. So yeah, FozzieSoft broke Eve. It was pretty cool. I just used that time to play Kerbal, so.
Yeah, and that was another thing we were doing, is installing that Project Reality game. We'll have to look at that.
Yeah, we'll have to try it out. So.
Where'd you go?
I haven't moved. I have a bigger hold than you do. So, for less devish talk and more actual Eve-ish talk, Brave Hero has died. It's DED dead.
We were out before the death.
Yep, we were out right before the death. Licton stepped down because of what he says is real life work issues. I don't know, so I can't really judge. But I hope he checked himself into a rehab center.
Yeah. I mean, he was probably a cool guy, but I mean, I didn't even see him. All I got were these drunken State of the Alliance things, you know.
Yeah, I sat through one of the sodas and it wasn't pretty. Anyway, so we have Nancy. Well, we don't have anymore. I guess we're not Brave, but Nancy Crow stepped up to take the role and immediately did what everybody has been yelling should be done a long time ago, is dropped Sov. And they dropped Sov, they left Fountain, and now they're back in low sec just trying to have PvP fun.
And, I honestly think that might be the best thing for them, because holding Sov is a pain in the butt. I mean, maybe under Fozzie Sov now, they can go out and take a system for a little bit, and when they get bored, go back to low sec.
Yeah, from what I understand, that's kind of what they're going to do. They're not going to take systems, they're going to Entosis troll.
Yeah, they're pretty much going to do that so they get fights, I think.
I mean, imagine in this system they'll eventually go back into take Sov, but now what they really need is to get the fun back, because it's been drama. But
I mean, let's be honest, the fleet numbers were just dropping off. You couldn't even get anyone to come out to clear the undock.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how bad it got.
And then, and especially since they've left Sov holding, they lost, like we said, Hero is dead, so they lost huge amounts of players because
now the Brave Alliance is still together, other than those who left.
The
right?
Hero Coalition is gone because Test.
I know, but the actual Brave Alliance.
Yeah, I'm not sure really. I think the Brave Alliance is still up.
Well, Borval was part of the Alliance, I believe.
Yeah, but they've left.
They're gone
they've
now.
They've joined Razor,
yeah.
So they're part of the Imperium. And then another one left. I can't remember what their name was or what they went to. It was started with an A. But that's I think that's what's for the best, really. Until they get some more fun, get some more morale, just have fun and fight.
I mean, it seemed to actually be from Catch when we first joined. Is when it started. I mean, people got tired of PL training them, and I think one of the biggest problems is there just wasn't enough FCs, so they were all getting drained from, FCing so much.
Because they were kicking out all the FCs.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing, is they kicked out all the FCs, and then there was like, well, why aren't we going out and defending anything? Well, there's no one to lead us. Yeah.
But
I mean, and we can't say anything about Karma, really, because we haven't got to play with them a lot.
Yeah, we've only been on some fun fleets. I've helped clear I finally got to fly a Dominix in PvP. I didn't get any kills because we couldn't catch them, but I was excited. I've always wanted to fly a Dominix in PvP.
Yeah, because when me and you went out by ourselves, we didn't see a single newt. Except that one guy that hangs around there.
Yeah, well, they're getting paid to hang around there. But, that's really been the only excitement as far as Eve goes. Not a lot been going on. Brave is what saved everybody from being too bored because they had all the major drama. But everybody's been just kind of prepping up for Fozzie Sov, so nobody's really been doing much.
Have you looked into the, now that we're technically under the Imperium, that we might be going into Providence to screw with them?
I haven't heard.
Because we're kind of, the Imperium's now doing this role-playing aspect.
Oh, the Mario.
Yeah, well, Providence, I think that they're role-playing wise are underneath of the Queen or Empress or whatever her name is.
Well, I think that's what the whole Burnhamar thing was about.
And they also want to test Fozzie Sov in Providence, is what I heard.
Yeah, I haven't.
Because there's a lot of... Because it's free-ported there, so that's why they want to do it.
Yeah.
I've also heard that goons want to show the faults in Fozzie Sov, so that's why they're doing all this. It has nothing to do with the actual them wanting to do RP. It's just for the Fozzie Sov side of things. They want to show that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've heard.
Well, this is actually going to be kind of a long episode. Since we're starting to get kind of towards the edge of time, I want to work on trying to wrap up this thing, but I want to tell one more Eve story before we jump into other games. And this one actually happened right before the podcast.
Yeah, literally right before. Yeah. What was it, like 30 minutes?
Yeah, so I was like I said in the last show, we just kind of use our alts and to record because it's easier to go into low sec. But if something happens, it happens. Whatever. So, I was running one of my ships home empty because I was just trying to get into the same system that Clyde was in, so we could start the show and everything. And all of a sudden, I started to get bumped. And apparently, I've not kept up on the times with code, because if you're flying a freighter, and especially if you're empty, you apparently need a code code license or whatever it is now. Permit. There you go. That's the word. So, I obviously don't have a code permit. A little thing on code for me is I agree with a lot of the aspects of code, but I don't necessarily like the way they handle it. I agree that being AFK and paying for a game that you're being AFK is bad, and maybe those people should get blown up. But if you're at the keyboard
and you're talking with them,
yeah, and you're actually talking to them and everything like that, because I had a super long conversation with this person. So if you're actually talking to them and stuff like that, that was whenever we started, I believe that was the whole point was bumping the AFK miners. You know, at first it was bumping, and then it got into ganking and so on and so forth. But anyway, but that's my little spiel. But this person, I had a super long conversation with them. They were bumping, and they were trying to. At first, she tried. I don't know if it's she. It's just their character's a she, so I'm just going to call him a she. But she tried to get me to pay 300. I was actually kind of worried, but I wasn't going to pay. If I died, I died. It was content. But anyway, so she said, "Pay me 300, or you're going to get killed in a couple of minutes." Whenever
was that 300 mil or bill?
300 mil. Whenever the timer resets for the gankers, because they just ganked somebody. That's why it was the perfect. I guess I came out of the perfect time, because there was actually some red flashies on the gate whenever I came through, and I was like, oh, they must have just ganked somebody, and all of a sudden I was getting bumped. So I was like, oh crap. So at first it was 300 mil or we'll blow you up, and I went, that's a little high. And then we just started talking, and I started asking questions about code. I was like, so I did my whole spiel. I was like, isn't the whole point to kill the AFKers? Because I agree with that. And then she linked me the site, and apparently James 315, I think James 315 has declared that if you are freighting now, that you need to have, if you're freighting alone, that you need to have a scout and a Weber and everything like that. And for people with like me, that's kind of almost impossible, because a lot of my characters my main's out in null, so I don't use the high set character. I mean, the only high set character I have is this one. So they have all these rules now that if you have to have a permit to fly freight. And I thought I was following the rules, because I was at the keyboard, I was jumping gate to gate, I wasn't doing any AFK thing. Apparently it wasn't. So after I got through this long conversation, it went down to, okay, since I thought I was following the rules, it was pay 100 million and buy a permit, and then I'll let you go. And I said no. I just kept talking. I pretty much just kept talking, because like I said, it was either I got away or I blew up, which would be fun to talk about too. I'd rather not lose my freighter, but
You'd rather not give money to pirates?
Yeah, I'd rather not give to code, because like I said, I believe in some of their things. I don't like the way they're doing them. So anyway, we got to that point. It was 100 mil and buy the thing, and I just kept talking. I kept stalling. I was like, no, I mean, I want to talk about this more. I want to I want to learn more about code. And She was saying if the FC ask, if I have a bump, then I'm going to have to tell them, and they're going to come kill you. I'm like, well, just tell your FC that you're trying to recruit a code person, because I'm curious. And so this kept going on, and eventually, all of a sudden, I'm warping because she's stopped bumping me, and apparently I called her bluff because she was bumping me, and there was no fleet. The gank fleet was not online, so I was safe. She was just trying to scam me out of money, which, I'm not a new player, but I'm not an old player, but I have some experience, and I know that if someone says, give me money, don't give them money. So I talked my way out of 300 million and getting quote-unquote blown up. So it was pretty. I told him I would talk about this on the podcast too. So it was pretty funny. It was interesting, to say the least. It was a long conversation too.
Yeah, I would have laughed if he would have got blown up, though.
I would have too. See, that's the thing. Is like,
and I would have told you to hurry up and record that stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't recording. I was pretty confident that I was safe, but I didn't know for sure because, like I said, the red flashes had just went through. So I was like, But that goes to show you, all of you Eve people, if someone says, give me money, you should probably not give them the money. Because if you blow up, and you learn, okay, that person will actually shoot me if I don't pay them. Which they could still shoot you if they do pay them. It's like, what's the guarantee? You're not 100% sure that if you give this person money that you're not going to die anyway. So you might as well just make it fun. Like, oh, I died, I just
what is
got my
ISK?
way out of it.
You can recover ISK. I know it's a lot of ISK, but...
Yeah, I can afford another freighter.
But when you give them the money and then they blow you up anyway, what's the point?
Yeah, and in this particular case, I would have gave them money, and there was no danger to me at all.
Yeah.
So
it was a complete bluff. Yeah.
Yeah, which props to that person because it was a good one. I was worried, but I got out of it. So hello if you listen because you asked me for a link. So hi. I won't say your name, but hi.
I was about to tell you should have kept the log and posted it on the website.
No, I won't do that because I'm hoping
you could have covered up that person's name.
Yeah, I could. I guess I copied and pasted a lot of it. Unfortunately, some of the log got lost because after so often it starts to cut off. But I'm not going to name any names because I'm hoping that she won't name any names and I can keep my character safe and we can just live this experience down because it was fun. I had a good conversation. I actually tried to get her to fly in a fun fleet with me. Go out in my main and try and kill some things.
Yeah. We need to start wrapping up on time, but I did want to mention some out-of-game things that were going on.
Different games.
Definitely in my... What was that?
Well, different games.
Well, no. Some Eve-related out-of-game things I wanted to mention real quick. First one, it's actually relatively close to me, is the Clueless Space Nerds. They're having a meetup. I'll have you post a link or just in the description for that to the Eve meetup. It's in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm thinking about going. I really want to go, and I know that you might not be able to make it.
I really want to go, but unfortunately I have some work training I have to go to in a different state. So.
I'm about 4 hours away, so it's debatable whether I want to go or not. I do want to go, but I don't know if I'm going to be free that weekend or not. The other thing I wanted to mention is on Twitter I've been following Rick's Javix, and he does a lot of art, Eve-related art, and he started this cool series. I would say it's like a adult coloring book with Eve ships in it. I mean, and there's like a maze follower. So I'm just giving him a shout out for that. I thought it was pretty cool. It was inventive. You don't see that type of stuff in other games, as far as I know.
It was. I thought the Connect the Dots Genosis was cool.
The Earburst? Oh no, the Connect the Dots was that one. Yeah, I didn't know what it was at first until I read it. But yeah, I just wanted to give a couple out of game shout outs to them. You know, other things that are going on.
But yeah, let's mention a few because like we're trying to be not just an Eve show. So let's we're turning into it, but we're trying not to be. So let's jump into some other games that we're interested in too.
Yeah. I guess I'll jump into the. I love Space Engineers. I watch podcasts on that.
Just no time to play it.
Yeah, no time to play it, and it's very intensive on my machine. There's absolutely no way I'd be able to record a session in it, just to let you guys know. So, I mean, Anthony might be able to, but I might not be able to. I mean, I could record it with my phone if you want that, but a couple of things that they're releasing is things that have already been released is Oxygen has come to the game, where you pretty much, in order to survive, you have to mine ice and turn it into oxygen. They just recently, I think this was last week, added a jump drive now to the game. And over the past couple of weeks, they've been adding scenarios where it's kind of like game modes. So you could have like a PvP aspect, and you could set the game mode and say, well, these are the conditions to win the game. And one of the big things that's coming there is you can go down to planets, and they don't have this worked out. Keen is working on it, but since they're running Space Engineers and Medieval Engineers, another game, in tandem, they're able to pull things from each other. And now, since Medieval Engineers is on a planet, they're able to pull those things in and make them work together. I mean, to me, it sounds like something cool. When planets come out, if my computer can run it, I think we should do a video on that. I mean, because I think that'd be pretty cool, smashing a big giant ship into a planet.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Just imagine if they combined the two universes. Like, you had a castle that got ran into by a spaceship.
Well, I think it's per code it's possible, because, I mean, Medieval Engineers is technically a big asteroid. I mean, the way they set it up, they use the same universe. I mean, you have a skybox and you're on a big asteroid. I mean,
yeah. But I mean, it would just like if they actually combine them. Like somebody's playing Medieval Engineers, and you could get your Space Engineers game and fly it. But anyway,
it'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool, but that's all theory crafting.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible though, because when they started Medieval Engineers, you were in a spacesuit, and so
yeah,
because it wasn't all finished yet.
Yeah.
Which I know you don't have Medieval Engineers, but anyway, we're space related games, so I thought I would bring it up since it's they conflict with each other. Now, you wanted to mention another game, right?
Yeah, I wanted to mention No Man's Sky because it looks pretty cool. It'll be coming out on the PC and the PlayStation 4, unfortunately, which means I won't get to play it until I get a better PC. But it's another first person spaceship game that's going to let you go flawless. It's going to be a humongous universe, the equivalent of the Star Citizen universe, maybe even bigger. But it's going to let you go from like seamlessly into space to on a planet, get out and walk around on the planet, shoot things. There's going to be life. There's going to be the planets are destructible and everything like that. So it's going to be another cool space game. They've shown it at E3. There's some gameplay trailers. I don't think there's actually officially a release date yet. But the whole universe, they've even said it's probably never going to get explored because there's just too many planets. So
yeah, because it's all procedurally generated.
Yeah, everything's going to be procedurally generated.
I mean, I looked at some of those videos, and the CEO of the company was playing and doing a walkthrough, and he pretty much said that everything, even the ships, are procedurally generated. So when you start up your thing, it could be ships that no one else has. I mean, because there's going to be so many of them.
Yeah. And what kind of gets me is, like, how are they going to implement multiplayer into that? Because, I mean, they're doing it in Star Citizen and everything like that, but That's such a big universe that somebody could just go off on their own and never see another person again. You could be playing multiplayer and just never see anybody.
I mean, they could probably do it kind of like Eve, where each planet's a node. And, so that way we're all in one universe, but it's all separate nodes of a server.
I don't know.
I mean, because otherwise that's going to be crazy having all that procedurally generated locally. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it looks interesting. I want to check it out eventually. Like, I'm an Xbox person, though, so I'm not going to be able to play it on the PlayStation. Hopefully it's not like, maybe it's a timed release. I don't know. But whenever I get a better PC, I'll definitely check it out, because it's another space game. I love space games. I love space engineers. I mean, not space engineers. Well, I like space engineers, but Elite Dangerous. That's the word I'm looking for. So it'll be kind of like Elite Dangerous, but more planety, which eventually I think Elite Dangerous is going to have planets, but I don't think they're going to go into what this game is going into, which is the life forms and the destructibility and everything like that.
Yeah, and that's another thing is that when I looked at it, No Man's Sky isn't a very graphics. I mean, it looks graphics heavy, but it's not. Everything has to be shiny and perfect. It looks a little bit cartoonish.
Yeah.
But if they're able to do all this procedural generation, I'd rather not have it have super graphics. I'd rather have the procedural generation with all this random stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to me, working on the graphics and things like that should come later. Get the game working the way it should and optimize it first.
Yeah, well, I mean, it might just be cartoony forever, which I wouldn't mind either.
Because to me, it's something that looks cool. I mean, I would definitely want to download it, and if we could play multiplayer, that would be fun. Both of us just kind of fly around, and we have to find each other first, of course. But
yeah, it'd probably be easier than Elite's giving it right now. So.
Oh yeah, God.
But since we're running kind of long here, we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah.
Any last minute things you want to add in?
Your towel.
Well, that's rude. Anyway, this has been episode 3 of Talking Space Pixels. I have been Anthony, also known in Eve as Oramus Rothgar.
And I've been Clyde, also known in Eve as Clyde Gibson.
And thank you for watching.
God bless.